Who's wrong and who's wronger? In this corner, followed by millions, James, the exploding unicorn, Breakwell. And in that corner, ignored by millions, Steve Dash, Olivas. All right, are you? Oh, hey, we started. We've gone hot. Hey, everybody! What? Thank you for all that. I know. Steve Olivas and James, the exploding unicorn Breakwell, coming to you on Wrong and Wronger, where we argue about points that everyone has an opinion about, yet doesn't really care about. And this week is no exception. This week, James and I talk about the pros and the cons. We'll each take a side to an issue that is dividing America right now. We need an open dialogue regarding pineapple on pizza.
Yeah.
This is usually where you step in. I just sort of threw it to you, and then we just had the pause there, and I understand that you were
dramatic. I was like so in rhythm, listening to you, and boring me to sleep. I didn't know I was participating still. I thought I was the audience.
Rolling slowly down your cheek like that Indian next to the highway with the garbage in that commercial from 1974.
Oh, that's all right.
Pineapple.
That's not going to be. Yeah. We are just talking over each other like crazy here. There's too much excitement about pineapple on pizza, way too much.
There's been a buzz in the studio here. All the interns are collected at the glass looking in, trying to figure out who is going to argue which side. And my friend here, James, I almost called you my buddy, James, but I don't know you that well. This guy, he once popped a carbuncle with a shark tooth earring, but in the good way that usually costs extra.
Yes. I almost know what most of those words mean, so I'm just going to say yes.
Wow, this reminds me of my wife. Just nods and, okay, you're very funny, sweetie. Yeah.
That's all right, because I do want to congratulate you on getting your certificate in the mail. I know you sent away for it. You took those online classes.
I've been waiting with bated breath.
Yeah, you are the first podcaster in America who is also a certified warlock. So congratulations for that. This is kind of a celebratory podcast.
Finding a certifying body to become a warlock was a little bit of a challenge for me, but once the curriculum was laid out, I hit it out of the park, man.
How much of that curriculum involved carbuncles?
Not much, because I rubbed my body with Eye of Newt before engaging in the curriculum, and so that took care of a lot of the blemishes and bumps that you're accustomed to seeing me carrying.
All right, I'm using context clues here for what a carbuncle is, and I'm much less flattered by that intro a moment ago now.
And a little grossed out. That's all right.
Yeah, just a lot. That's okay.
Yeah, just don't encourage the listeners to Google carbuncle, because then it gets creepy in a whole different kind of way.
This podcast is going dark places. Let's get back to that pineapple.
Pineapple is one of those potentially dark places, but it depends on which side we land on, and the cruel hand of fate will decide that. Do you have the magic coin?
Yes, I have the coin. It is a real quarter earned with my high-paying Twitter salary, and I'm going to flip this coin to determine Steve's position.
Yeah.
Heads up, Steve is pro-pineapple.
Pro-pineapple.
Tails up, anti-pineapple.
All right.
Stakes could not be, I don't know, there'd be
more irrelevant.
All right,
here we go.
All right. And it's on the floor, rolling. Ooh, heads up, you are pro-pineapple.
I'm glad that I am pro-pineapple, because there are such an array. I want to make sure the noun and the verb, the subject and the predicate match, so I'm going to back the truck up and say there is such a wide array of toppings for pizza that you can't just settle on one thing. Now, you may have a favorite thing, but there's so many other things. Just a little dash of mushroom, a little hit of onion once in a while, a little hit of something that has its own bold flavor, like green pepper sometimes. Sometimes put little jalapenos on there, and sometimes, James, you want to be as sweet as Steve Olivas, and you put a little slice of pineapple, and that mixes with that savory saltiness of the tomato sauce, which in your neck of the woods might be tomato, and you get a little bit of cheese with that, and with the pineapple, all of that blends to this succulent explosion of flavor in your mouth. Now we're going in that creepy direction again, so I'm going to pull it back and say, you got to get the salty and the sweet. It's like potato chips on ice cream. Those kinds of combos just work.
Well, I want to give you a little credit. Only 2 times during your speech did I almost throw up in my mouth. So I will give you props for that. But pineapple does not go on pizza. I have it on good authority. Now, again, I'm no world geographer, but I have it on good authority. There are no pineapples growing in Italy where pizza was invented and perfected. It just wasn't a thing. And they put all the toppings that needed to be put on there, and they made a perfect product, and they shipped it over here. And then people just ruin it. There comes a point where you've just gone too far, where you have to stop. This is like MacArthur going too far north and bringing the Chinese into North Korea. Like this is a disaster on that scale. It's one topping too far. They could collapse the entire pizza industry. I mean, you've got houses divided, people screaming at each other.
The Chinese invaded Iceland. It was a horrible day.
It was, people are terrified to pick up the phone. Like, what if they say the wrong thing? What if somebody makes a mistake and accidentally puts pineapple on the pizza? Can you imagine how crushing that is? You had a hard day at work. You've got a hungry family. You don't have time to cook. So you order pizza. If the guy shows up, you don't even check the box. You just tip him because you're polite and you don't want to be a jerk. And you open it up, and there's pineapple on the pizza. And now you have to throw it in the garbage, and your whole family goes hungry that night. I mean, these are real disasters that are happening every day. Some condiments are just too dangerous and too destructive to have in the pizza restaurant, and pineapple is one of them.
If one of your arguments rests upon the mountain of pineapple is not indigenous to Italy, I'll tell you something that is indigenous to Italy. Italians. Do you want a hairy, sweaty Italian guy on your pizza? No, that's not the way that it works. I'll even bring it back to something that some pizza joints actually have in one of the little bins, and that's anchovies. You can find anchovies in Italy. By the way, I'm a part Italian. I don't know if you knew that. I'm not going to tell you which part because anyway, again, the creepy direction that this goes in, you somehow inspire this side of me.
It's all you for the creepy
I don't
part.
know. I don't talk like this with other people. But
oh, God, you're making it worse.
But something that not many people know about, it took the Italians to invent ice cream, and there was a commercial on in about 1981 that actually addressed this issue, that the Italians did not invent pizza, that pizza was invented on the Hawaiian Islands. And I know that you weren't around back then. You're you're almost pre-zygotic with how young you are, James. And so I have to explain some of these old ad campaigns to you. But this was one of those that you knew was accurate because it came out in the 70s when nobody lied to you. It was pre-Watergate.
That's true. It was against the law back then.
Well, that's why the Indian was crying on the side of the road. Nowadays, he'd be a Native American, but not back then, man. Back then, he prognosticated bad things coming.
Did you know that Indian was Italian?
I did not know that.
That is a fact. Look that up. He was Italian. Your iconic commercial here for Truth is a lie. Not just a lie, but a vaguely racist lie. I mean, that guy, that wouldn't fly today. There would be riots in the streets. Tumblr would be aflame. I mean,
I don't
that
mean
would
to
not
be
fly.
late.
Anyway, continue with your misguided point. Please continue being wronger.
The problem with wrong and wronger is I can't even tell when you're making something up or when you're giving me a true fact, and I don't know if that's going to do your relationships any good in real life. But
you're going to wonder about that one all night, but I know you're not going to be, diligent enough to actually look it up. So I'm just going to let it lie there. But feel free to look it up.
I've Googled 3 things already today, and I don't need that kind of exercise. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so the fact that pizza was made in Hawaii first, that's why they called it a pie. That Hawaiians didn't know the difference. They weren't Italian. They called it a pie, and they put pineapple on it. Pie and pineapple both have that same stem. You can hear it if you say them close together.
This is I guess the phonetics are escaping me. I'm going to let that point slide. But let's go back. Let's just go back to a basic flavor profile. Like, there is nothing about a pizza that's supposed to be sweet. I mean, it's got the cheese, it's got the mushrooms, it's got the pepperoni. It's savory and salty. And you don't put sweet on there. I mean, you're not going to put gummy bears on your pizza. You're not going to put pixie sticks on your pizza. How is it any different putting pineapple on your pizza? It's a flavor that just has no place. And other than pineapple, there's no other no other sweet thing that they would put on there. I mean, they're not putting apple slices on your pizza. You're not putting orange peels. But then orange slices. You know what? You might as well put orange peels on there. It's about as appealing.
Tomato. Pardon the pun.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. Why have we made an exception for this one sweet fruit? I think it's on there as a joke. I think that those Hawaiians are just punishing America. They're like, oh my God, even though they're part of America.
Oh, like, Hawaiian rage.
It's kind of like the Tom Sawyer thing of, oh, this is so fun painting the fence. This is so good. You see people, oh, this pineapple is so good. I bet you want some on your pizza. Then somebody else eats it and ruins their night. Well, they're going to get in on the joke, too, and ruin somebody else's night. I don't think anybody is pro-pineapple. I think they've all taken it up as a joke to troll everybody else and see how many lives they've ruined.
And when you get
the gig is up,
an army of angry Hawaiians, they would have driven MacArthur right back down into Antarctica, right into Peru. And that was, I feel like my MacArthur example was pretty geographically accurate. I don't know. Peru is,
you don't know where North Korea is on a map. And that's how we got to where we are now. I'll give you carbuncle. You know what a carbuncle is, and I don't. I know where North Korea is. I'm very confident in that. I'm very confident the pineapple does not belong on pizza.
James, the reason I know what a carbuncle is probably something that you're glad you don't know what it is.
Oh, I should have not revisited carbuncle. I should have just let it go. I should have let it go.
Let me go into detail for a second about what a carbuncle is and where they end up.
Let's not.
Well, instead, what I'm going to do is use one of your own arguments back against you, because you cannot argue both sides of the fence. Last week, the last show, I believe you were quoted as saying you like ketchup on hot dogs, and I think you may have even thrown in ketchup on French fries. So when we talk flavor profile and how sweet and salty can mix, you have already been a staunch advocate of the sweet and salty combo with French fries and ketchup, with hot dogs and ketchup.
All right. First of all, you can't bring up old arguments because you're not my wife. Okay, that's exclusive
I remember
to her.
what I was wearing when we had that argument.
Was it what you're wearing now? Because you never changed your clothes.
Underpants and Argyle socks. Yeah.
Oh, with the carbuncles. All right.
I'm sitting on a ring, but it's okay.
There's a difference. There are different rules for hot dogs and French fries and pizza. They all come from different places. They have different purposes. So you've got your French fries, obviously. France is the land of salty and sweet things that go together. That's just what fits the flavor profile.
I almost made another vaguely racist comment, but keep going.
I don't think you can be racist against the French. I think that's just okay.
Hey, you know what? You did it for me. Thanks. All right.
I took 4 years of French in high school, man. I have trauma from that. I took 4 years of French from a French teacher who didn't speak French. Like, wrap your head around that.
What?
We would sit there in class, and, she would, say these words out loud, and we'd try to repeat after her. But then for the tests and quizzes, they came from the textbook company, and they would play, what actual French people talking. We're like, what language is this? We've never heard this before.
It's Klingon.
And on top of it, it wasn't like just somebody, talking in a studio. It was like somebody talking at a bus station with buses driving by behind them. Like, really?
And they're in a hurry.
Hearing this language... Yeah, the language for the first time wasn't hard enough. You're going to add, crowd noise and stuff to it. Oh, that was bad. So anyway, I may have some hard feelings about the French. And when I picked a college that I could take an English degree specifically that did not require any foreign language experience. That was my criteria.
That's actually a fact. You have told me that out of this context a long time ago.
Yes. That is the fact, like every other fact I've ever given you. Anyway, back to pizza and pineapple.
Yeah.
Pizza and pineapple follow different rules than French fries and ketchup, or ketchup and hot dogs. I mean, I don't think that you treat a hot dog like you treat a pizza. Do you put mushrooms on your hot dog? Do you put anchovies on your hot dog? Do you put these other things on there? I don't think so.
It's late, and I can't help my mind wandering to the phrase, do you put mushrooms on your hot dog? All right.
Oh, we've got problems with this podcast. You know
we
that. We're laying out some ground rules here.
One of our problems is
coming down.
We are running out of time. We are over the 14-minute mark, and we got to make this thing wrap, man. We got to wrap our our pizza. I don't even know where I'm headed anymore.
Well, I would like to congratulate you on losing again for the third podcast in a row, but you're a very gracious loser, and I admire that. You should add your applause track to the end so you get the pity clap. I think that would be the appropriate way to end this from now on.
I would like to congratulate you again on your utter frailty in life. That ketchup, or I'm sorry, pineapple. I got ketchup on the mind now. Pineapple on pizzas.
I don't even know what you're accusing me of.
Well, and we're not married. Figure that one out. We got to get out of here, man. We'll talk about how frail you are next time we get together on Wrong and Wronger. But until then, follow us on Twitter, everybody. James is, of course, the king of, and I'm going to use this word because I know it torques him like a wrench, he is the king of the amateur comedians. He's got almost 1 million followers, and he'd like to add you too. Exploding Unicorn is his handle on Facebook and on Twitter, and that's exploding without an E, like an extreme. The E has fallen off. We just have an X and jagged font and the word tream after it. He is an X and jagged font with Ploding Unicorn after it. I am Steve Olivas. Follow me on Twitter at Steve Olivas. Steve is with a V, not a PH, and James, you might want to take note of that. Until next time, Steve Olivas for James Breakwell saying thanks for listening, everybody, and put pineapple on your pizza.
No.